What up gamers, I'm Jason and today on Dice & Dragons I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter preview for Deck of Wonders designed by Dennis Furia and published by Furia Games. Now this is a solo game, one of the reasons why Julie isn't here with me. Now it can be played cooperatively together. Basically there is a hand for the player, and if you're going to choose to play a co-op, you decide jointly what actions you're going to take. We are going to be getting a preview copy of the game. Unfortunately, due to the current situation, it just hasn't arrived. So we may do a little bit more on Deck of Wonders if we get time and the preview copy arrives actually during the course of the campaign. So what is Deck of Wonders? Well, this solo game is played using a deck of 56 cards, 28 villain cards, and 28 hero cards. Now those are mixed together to form the aforementioned Deck of Wonders. Now each villain has their own preset deck that will change as there are some legacy elements to the game. There's also other legacy elements for the hero, meaning that you can customize your deck so that you'll have an easier time or a more difficult time, depending on how you want to play it against the three villains that are included in the game. Now what you're going to be doing in the game is you're going to have a hand of cards, and the cards are double-sided with the, well, it depends on how you're orientated, but part of it being for the player, so that's typically the top half, and the bottom half for the villain. So both the villain and the players are using the same deck. You're going to be putting cards into play, casting spells, and doing your best to defeat the villain before they defeat you. Now with that being said, let's take a look at our how to play / playthrough of the game, which we did using Tabletop Simulator. So enjoy it, and also I will mention it in the playthrough, but I'm going to mention it here now. Down below in the video description you can find a link to the Tabletop Simulator demo that should be available throughout the Kickstarter campaign. So keep it right here and enjoy the forthcoming playthrough. Now we're going to take a look at Deck of Wonders using the Tabletop Simulator demo. Now, as I understand it, this demo is going to be available throughout the duration of the Kickstarter. If you do happen to check out this demo on Tabletop Simulator and then decide that you would like to back the game, well, you've got a handy link to the Kickstarter here. There's a link to the mailing list. The rulebook is right here. And then there's also a link to the media kit, which you don't normally get access to, but it will give you an idea as to what Deck of Wonders is going to look like once the game comes out. Now, if you would like to check out this Tabletop Simulator demo, take a look down below in the video description and you'll be able to find it there. Now we'll take a look at Cullen, the spoiler prince who represents the first villain that you're going to be facing in this solo or cooperative if someone's going to, play with you on the same side, but it's really a one-player game. And this is also a legacy game. So let's take a look at Cullen, as that is going to explain it a little bit more clearly. So we have Cullen, the spoiled prince, who likes to think of himself as fate's favorite. He's very irritated with you for stealing her attention, even though it's negative, and he's rallied the denizens of his woodland realm against you. Although most of them are quite happy, he's not in a good mood. Now for this villain, he is impatient. That means the player and villain start with only 20 health instead of 30. His special ability is Fools, I'll do it myself. So if you do have to reshuffle the 56 card deck, he will then be dealing 2 damage to the player during every villain turn. Now the legacy elements are detailed below. As you can see, the first time you beat Cullen with 12 or more health remaining, you open the legacy pack Cullen's Tantrum and you add it to his cards. The 8th time you play a forest troll, whether it's for the villains or yourself, then you will open up the Unexpected Allies pack. And then once you've defeated Cullen for the first time, you will open up the next villain, Aurora, who is the second villain of this 3-villain game. Now here we've got our Deck of Wonders. It is a 56 card deck. 28 cards are from the villains preset starting deck. As you can see, with the legacy elements, you might be adding some more cards to it or changing up which cards are in it. You also have a preset hero deck of 28 cards, but it is also customizable as you unlock and get more cards. Now what are we going to be doing in Deck of Wonders? Well, here are the instructions for the game. So on a player turn, we'll normally be drawing a card, we'll then play a card. If we have minions that are ready, we will then be able to attack. If we decide to play a spell, well, then we will resolve the spell right away. After that, we go to the end of turn phase, where we will ready all of our minions, return them all to full health, and then pass the turn to the villain. Now, on the villain's turn, we'll draw and play one card. Now, both the player and villain turn, you'll see that there is a different amount of cards that you play on the opening, so that's to get the game going. You will then draw battle lines on the villain turn, which we'll explain, and that's how you order your minions up and how they will attack. It's very important and a key aspect of the game. You then go through with the villain attack, and then at the end of the villain turn, you will ready all the villain minions. So keep that in mind. When minions come into play, they are exhausted, and they're not going to be readied right away. You'd reset all minions to full health, and then it becomes your player turn. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Now we're all zoomed in and ready to play Deck of Wonders. Let's take a look at the rules reference card. So for our first turn, I as the player need to draw 4 cards, and the villain will be drawing 3. So let's get 4 cards into our hand, see what we got. We have Gust of Wind. Now, this card is a spell, meaning it takes effect immediately. We destroy all minions with base 1 health, even our own. And if it comes into play on the villain side, the bottom half of the card, we would destroy all player minions with 1 base health. That's not that much fun. We have the Pixie Cavalry. We also have the Tree Herd and another Tree Herd. So we're in a good position. Now, not the biggest fan of Gust of Wind as a card. So we're going to play the Pixie Cavalry. I want to get as many minions into play as possible. I'm going to play the Tree Herd. And just a reminder, all minions come into play exhausted. Now the Tree Herd, when we play it, we have to discard a card. We get to draw a card. The card we're going to discard is the Gust of Wind. We have another Tree Herd in our hand. But to play it, we would have to discard the Forest Troll, which is a very powerful card. So that's not what I'm going to do. Instead, I'll end my turn and ready these 2 cards because they were not able to attack at this point. Now we draw a card for the villain. The first card is the Pixie Mesmerist, which enters into play, and all villain minions enter into play readied. I know it's not fun, but that's the way it works. We draw a second card, flip it, which is Poison Toad, which enters into play readied as well. And then we draw our third card, which is a Forest Troll that enters into play and it's readied. Now this is a great example where we're going to take a look at battle lines. So when it comes to battle lines, you order player minions from left to right in priority order. Player picks the order for ties, and then we order the villain minions from left to right in the order you want them to attack. So lots of really cool stuff that we can do here, and we can probably wipe the villain's board, actually. So we've got our cards ordered in priority. You can see the damage from the Tree Herd, which is 3. Priority is 3, and health is 3. So there's 3 across the board, with damage being yellow, priority green, and health red. Now the Pixie Cavalry is damage 2, priority 2, and health 3. Now we can order any of these cards up here how we want. We want to make sure that we kill as many of them as possible. So what we're going to do is we organize the Forest Troll, not necessarily at the front, because the way things work is it's their combined damage. So we'll leave the Pixie Mesmerist as the first card. It'll only deal 1 damage, but it'll attack the Tree Herd as its damage with the Forest Troll's damage. We'll be able to defeat it, and this Tree Herd is going to wipe these 2 cards off the board. Now Poison Toad is going to strike the Pixie Cavalry, which is unfortunately going to clear our board, but also clear the villains. So we resolve it, and just remember the way you put things into the discard pile can matter depending on what cards show up. So Pixie Mesmerist attacks the Tree Herd and dies. Forest Troll finishes off our Tree Herd and dies. Well, we want him kind of higher up just because maybe we can regenerate him. Don't think it'll happen. Now Pixie Cavalry and Poison Toad hit each other, and they cancel each other out. So the whole board got cleared, but we still have some cards in our hand. So we're going to draw another card, which is another Tree Herd. And we want to get something into play here, so I'm going to get the entry into play. I'm going to discard one, but I do get to draw a card. So we get the lightning strike, which is discard one, destroy a minion with 2 or less health, and we get to draw a card. So maybe we'll do something with that. It's the end of our turn, so we'll ready the Ent. We'll draw from the top of the deck, reveal the enemy card, which is unfortunately a Hungry Wolf, which, as you can see, 3 health, 3 damage. Hungry Wolf, 3 health, 3 damage, 1 health. Crashes into us and defeats our Tree Herd. Draw another card, and we get poisoned to it. But with everything we do here, we're going to have to discard a card. And it's tricky, but I'm going to take the risk. I want something in play, so we're going to put the Forest Troll into play. It's exhausted, but I'm just ending my turn, so I'll unexhaust it. I'll go to the villain turn, draw a card, flip it over, and of course, it's Poison Toad, who takes out our Forest Troll. Just not getting anywhere. So we draw a card, and get the Baited Trap. Villain card is the Reinforced Dam, which is Taunt, which means we have to attack it. We'll draw another card, which is Guerrilla Tactics. Can't do much with that right now. Draw a card for the villain. It's another Reinforced Dam. So we get to draw our card on our turn, so with Earth Shield. And luckily, we can play Guerrilla Tactics, which is if there are 2 or more villains in play, then draw 2 cards. So we'll draw 2 cards into our hand. We get the Gnomish Servant and the Hungry Wolf. Both of them are going to go into play. I'm just going to drop them already based on priority. Now the Gnomish Servant lets us draw a card. We'll exhaust them both just to make sure. Now we would get Lightning Strike, which isn't really going to do us much good, but we can discard Lightning Strike to destroy a minion, get rid of the Reinforced Dam, because we use our Baited Trap. And I'm going to put Earth Shield on the Hungry Wolf, so that'll end my turn. We're just going to place it like this. Unexhaust. Gnomish Servant. Draw the villain card, which is Regeneration. Luckily, we put the Baited Trap at the top. They don't get to regenerate anything. They just get to draw another card. Just another regeneration. Get to draw another card, which now gives us the Pixie Cavalry. So, we'll take a look at the rules for the villain attack. Ready villain minions attack 1 at a time. If the collective attack will destroy the highest priority player minion, they attack it until it's destroyed. Otherwise, they attack the player directly. Now, as we have the Earth Shield, this Pixie Cavalry, which does 2 damage, should normally be able to take out the Hungry Wolf. So it will crash into the Hungry Wolf, which is protected by the Earth Shield, and defeats it. So it's now my turn. I'll draw a card. I get a Gnomish Servant. That's definitely just going to go into play. We'll draw another card. And we get another Forest Troll. Well, it looks better to us than the villain. So we do attack for a total of 4, which lets us destroy this Reinforced Dam. We get to untap. Well, it's not tapping, but that was the original terminology. We get to unexhaust our Gnomish Servant. Draw a card for the villain. And we put into play the Ent Tree Herd. Now, we have to do battle lines based on priority. Unfortunately, we can't change the priority, so the Hungry Wolf and the Ent Tree Herd cancel each other out. We draw a card, which is Baited Trap. We finally get some hits in on Cullen with our Gnomish Servant, so that's 2 damage to the villain. He draws another card. We get Gust of Wind. That wipes the board as it destroys all player minions with base health of 1. So we get to draw another card into our deck, which is Gust of Wind. We want to get a Forest Troll into play. Hopefully, I think we've seen the last of some cards that can get rid of it. Draw a card for villain. We get a Gnomish Servant. And he also gets draw 1. Get another card, which is the Reinforced Dam. Now, the Gnomish Servant will attack. But, as you can see, 1 damage will not kill this. This Reinforced Dam will not kill the Forest Troll. So, they're just going to attack us directly. We can organize it like this. I don't think it really matters. It's now my turn. I get a Pixie Mesmerist, which is great because I can put it into play exhausted in front of the Forest Troll as a shield. It's priority 4. Forest Troll takes out the Reinforced Dam. Cullen's next card is Earth Shield, which is annoying, but not actually that bad because it can only be played on the Gnomish Servant. Let's try to do this a little differently. It can be tricky to remember. We have to draw another card. And now we get the Hungry Wolf, which comes into play. So, perfect. And I forgot to unexhaust my Pixie Mesmerist. Not a big deal. So the Gnomish Servant and the Hungry Wolf will attack the highest card in priority, which is the Pixie Mesmerist. Now the Gnomish Servant survives thanks to Earth Shield, which is then placed into the discard pile. But the Hungry Wolf attacks the Pixie Mesmerist, not my Forest Troll, and is defeated. So I get to draw a card, which is Regeneration. I should have been more careful into how I put stuff in the deck, but I made my decision, so we will put the Hungry Wolf into play. It's exhausted, playing the Regeneration. For the moment, we'll have to keep the Forest Troll in front in battle lines to protect the Wolf from the Servant, but we're not going to take out the Gnomish Servant. We're going to attack Cullen for 5 damage. So he was at 18, drops him down to 13. Another card of his into play, which is another Earth Shield. So, a little annoying. Draw another card. It's Guerrilla Tactics. So if there are 4 or more player minions in play, destroy them all. It's not the case. They get to draw another card, which is another Earth Shield. Can't apply to something that already has it. Get another card, which is Regeneration. Doesn't work. Draw another card. So we're just going through the deck here. And now we put the Pixie Cavalry into play. And that's when things get to be a little annoying for us. Because the Gnomish Servant attacks. We lose his shield. But the Pixie Cavalry does enough damage to finish off the Forest Troll. So we lose it. Now we get to draw another card, which is our Pixie Mesmerist, which is great. And I like putting things down just in battle lines already. So we're going to put this into play. Rotate it a little too far, but you get the gist. So we attack for 3. So we hit Cullen again. Now we ready it up. We draw the next card. Baited Trap. Destroy the lowest priority player minion. So unfortunate. We do lose our Hungry Wolf. The Gnomish Servant will ignore us and attack. And draw a card. Can't do anything with it. Pixie Mesmerist will. Just because it's not much difference, we're going to get that Gnomish Servants out of there. Should have done that earlier. Villain's turn. Guerrilla Tactics. Doesn't do anything. Draw another card. Destroy the highest party player minion, so we lose our Pixie Mesmerist. Get our card, which is a Forest Troll. Good stuff. Not much we can do, though. I get another dam that goes into play. We draw a card. So we're going to discard both of these to put the Forest Troll into play. Now, I can't attack. I'm not going to put into play exhausted. I'm just going to move over to the villain's turn. They draw their card, which is the Gnomish Servant. They get to draw 1. Flip it over. Guerrilla Tactics. Doesn't do anything. Draw another card. So they put the Hungry Wolf into play. So once again, this is how battle lines come into play. Now, the interesting thing is the collective might of all of these minions will destroy my Forest Troll. So this 0 cost minion, well, 0 attack minion will still attack Forest Troll because the total value will kill it. So they all crash into it, and we once again wipe the board. To draw another card, put the Pixie Cavalry into play. Just going to drop it because we move over the Cullen's turn. Who gets Poison Toad? They knock each other out. Our card is Gust of Wind. Don't love it. And we flip over the Baited Trap. Destroy a minion. Doesn't do anything. So we actually go into... We use all the cards. So we flip over the deck. Shuffle it up. Put it back in the draw. And now Cullen activates his new ability. So each villain attack phase, he actually attacks now. So hopefully we'll get some good stuff. So we'll draw the first card. Just Pixie Cavalry, which we're just going to put into play. Now, I'm not exhausting it. Go to the villain side. Regeneration. Doesn't do anything. Draws a card. We get another Reinforced Dam, which is just obnoxious. So we take 2 damage from Cullen. To draw another card. Well, drew 2 cards there. Poison Toad was the top one, which is unfortunate. So you know what? We're going to put this back just because we saw it. Randomize it up. Take a card. So we get the Entreard, which we're definitely going to put into play. Just put into position properly now. It is exhausted. We discard a card. Back into play. So destroy the highest priority minion. So it takes us out. We take 2 damage from Cullen. We're just really not getting anything good here. So Pixie Mesmerist just goes into play. Draw a card. It's another Reinforced Dam. Jeez. Another 2 damage from Cullen. I keep hitting the 2 button by mistake. Instead of the 1, that's how you draw cards here. So we'll draw another card. So it's another Pixie Mesmerist. Put it into play. Now, if you're wondering why I'm really skipping the attack phase, we only have 3 damage. These guys have 4. Nothing we can do. Gnome's Servant for the villain. So we have to destroy one of our Pixie Mesmerists, which is absolutely obnoxious. And we take 3 damage because of the Gnomish Servant into play. So this really just is not going our way. So I do get the Hungry Wolf, which I'm going to drop here. I forgot to clear the Lightning Strike. Villain's turn. Another Reinforced Dam, which is just completely bonkers if you think about it. So we take 3 damage. Draw a card. Can't use that yet, but we can start destroying stuff. So we do destroy the first of the dams. And I'm pretty sure this game is over. Actually, yeah. Yeah, so this, we take another 3 damage. And from the villain. I forgot if I drew a card for them or not. In any case, it's a Pixie Mesmerist. No matter what I do, I take another 3 damage. And we lose the game. And that's how it works. So you can see how challenging it can be. There's definitely a luck factor in this game with regards to what comes out of the deck. So you got to keep that in mind. Hope you enjoyed our playthrough of Deck of Wonders. Unfortunately, I did not successfully beat Cullen this time. I've beaten him a few times in the past. Just didn't go our way. Now keep it right here as I'll be coming back at you with some thoughts on the game. So what did I think of Deck of Wonders? Well, typically, I don't do much solo gaming. For those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you know that I talked about getting a solo review of Star Saga done, and I'm about 3 missions into that, and we've just been so busy lately, it hasn't got back out to the table. But I'm going to finish that campaign. I'm going to do it. I'm just talking about now that goes to show you solo gaming isn't what I love to do. Typically, if I'm playing a game solo, I might be on my phone playing Hearthstone. I might be playing a video game on my Xbox or PlayStation. It's not typically a board game. Now, what I really do enjoy about Deck of Wonders is the speed of setup and the playtime for the game. Now, there is some depth with regards to the customization that you're able to do with the legacy elements. Unfortunately, we've not experienced that yet. I'm not able to comment on it, but keep that in mind that it's present. But you can just grab the preset villain cards, grab the preset hero cards, mix them together, and you can play. One of the beauties of this solo game is that it plays so quickly. For those of you that saw my explanation and playthrough, well, that took us only 20 minutes. So you can play the game actually in a very short amount of time, as Dennis put it, and something that fits my current lifestyle as well as Julie's, is that this is the kind of game that can be played during nap time. Does not take up a lot of room. It's very portable. You can play it at work. And that's one thing that I really like about this game is I will always be able to get it out and play it. Now with the legacy elements, it encourages me to play it multiple times. For example, in order to unlock the second villain, Aurora, well, to do that, you need to defeat Cullen 5 times. And depending on the way the deck works, that may be an easy task or a fairly difficult task. In my personal experience so far, unless I got one of the rules wrong, I haven't had too much difficulty with Cullen. That being said, I do play a lot of online card games. I previously played Magic the Gathering. So a lot of the systems which are fairly similar, but I wouldn't call them identical to those games, just sort of worked well for me. And if you are that type of a game player, you like Hearthstone, things like that, you're going to enjoy Deck of Wonders. And I gotta say, with regards to the art, Lauren Brown did a fantastic job with it. I love the dichotomy in that presentation in terms of you've got the evil version of the card, the villain side, the more normal version that is represented on the hero side. So art is a big thing, especially if you're dealing with a solo game, in my opinion, because you're spending more time with the game. It's not necessarily about, that social aspect where you can have an ugly game just using some wooden meeples, but if the game is great, you're not going to pay attention to the art. So Lauren did a fantastic job and really added that icing to the cake, which is Deck of Wonders, and it's something that I don't think the game would be nearly as fun and engaging without the fantastic art. So I don't really have too much more to say about Deck of Wonders. It is a fantastic solo game, in my opinion, because it's easy to play, easy to get out. Now, I'm not going to give it a score or a rating because I haven't got to experience the legacy elements, but I have to say, if you are a solo gamer, you're looking for something that can potentially fit in your pocket, come with you wherever you go, and when you got 10, 15 minutes, you'll be able to take it out and play it. I wouldn't try it, but you could probably even play it if you have to excuse yourself to the restroom, play it on the floor, but that's just disgusting. Don't do it, but just a joke I'm making to say you can play Deck of Wonders anywhere. It doesn't take up that much space. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts, my impressions of my first about 6 or 7 plays of Deck of Wonders. If you just skipped ahead to hear my impressions, you'd like to see more about the game, go back, take a look at the timestamps, check out the playthrough, and enjoy it. And with that being said, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. So before that, what you guys need to do is like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit the notification bell to let me and Julie know. Don't worry, she sees that stuff as well. If, it doesn't let us know, but subscribe, that lets us know. Hit the bell so that YouTube makes sure that you know when our next video is released. And then down below in the video description, you'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Unfortunately, we won't have any pictures from Deck of Wonders, but when we do get the preview game, I will definitely get some plays of it in, and those pictures will be up on our feed. And now popping up in front of me are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. So you'll have the one over here that's going to take you back to our most recently released one. And then we've got a fantastic interview and card art reveal with Lauren Brown and Dennis Furia of Furia Games. Well, just Dennis. Lauren does the art, but she's also freelance. So if you're looking for some art for your game, check her out. Well, we had a nice interview with them. That's going to be a link that's going to be popping up over here. And with that being said, don't forget, keep playing games.